us. Let us pray. Blessed and holy God, we gather here this night thankful for the opportunity to come into a place that we truly can call home, a place where we feel comfortable and happy as we remember the times we have spent on this campus. Truly, this is a homecoming. This night, I ask your blessings on the time that we share, that you would bless the memories of our times on the Hill in the past, allow us to enjoy readily our times now, and to help us pass on the joy of this place into the future. Lord, bless this time, our food, and those who have worked so hard to prepare it for us. May it nurture us so that we might do your will. All of this I ask as one who knows not even what to ask, but I, your servant, ask because you are a trustworthy and holy God. Amen.
Good evening, distinguished guests, alumni, faculty and staff members, students and friends of Hampden-Sydney College. It is my great honor to welcome you all to this historic occasion, the kickoff of our campaign celebrating 250 years of Hampden-Sydney College. As we celebrate the remarkable milestone of Hampden-Sydney College 250th anniversary, we stand at a pivotal moment in our history, a time to reflect on our rich heritage and envision a bright future. Founded in 1775, Hampden-Sydney has long been a beacon of academic excellence, character development, and service to others. Since its founding, Hampden-Sydney has been steadfastly committed to forming good men and good citizens who are guided by integrity, honor, and service. This commitment to fostering the minds and hearts of young men has shaped multitudes of leaders who have made lasting impacts in their communities and beyond. In honor of this significant anniversary, we are excited to launch a comprehensive capital campaign to enhance our campus, expand our programs, and guarantee that the Hampden-Sydney experience continues to empower future generations of young men. This campaign is not just an opportunity to invest in our institution, but a chance to honor our legacy and build a foundation for the next 250 years of excellence. Together, through this campaign, we can create transformative opportunities for our students, strengthen our academic offerings, and ensure that Hampden-Sydney remains a vibrant, supportive community. We invite you to join us in this ambitious endeavor to celebrate our past and cultivate our tomorrow. Your support is vital as we embark on this journey, and together we will continue to uphold the values that make Hampden-Sydney an exceptional place. As we gather here tonight, let us reflect on the achievements that have defined us and embrace our collective responsibility to ensure that Hampden-Sydney will continue to thrive and prosper, leading the way in academic excellence and civic leadership for centuries to come. Thank you all for your commitment and for being here tonight as we launch this exciting new chapter in Hampden-Sydney's storied history. It is now my distinct pleasure to ask Adam Brazel, a Wilson Fellow, captain of our Hampden-Sydney basketball team, and a member of the class of 2025, to address you and introduce our first speaker for the evening. Thank you.
Okay, so I've been tasked with essentially sharing my story of my time here at Hampden-Sydney College. My name is Adam Brazel, as Mr. Haskins said, and I'm a fifth-year senior here at Hampden-Sydney. I'm the point guard of the basketball team, and I want to talk to you guys about a few things. First, I want to discuss the culture of the basketball program and the environment at Hampden-Sydney. Then I want to discuss the importance of the brotherhood and mentorship at the college. And finally, I will introduce our very special guest speaker. In my freshman year here, we won 2 games. Last year, we won a school record 31 games, an ODAC championship, and we made it all the way to the national championship. So what changed from year 1 to year 4? Well, a lot of things changed. But I think the thing that's most important is that we established an identity and we stuck to it. In August of 2020, our team gathered around the football field out here, and we created a formula for our culture. And I think this is something that's very rare, where the players get to decide what the culture will be within a given program. We came up with an acronym, Tiger DNA. In this Tiger, it is thankful, intelligent, gritty, enthusiastic, and respectful. In addition to that, we also came up with SOE, which means Standard of Excellence. And for us, we say that we want to be the standard of excellence in Division III basketball. But we define this as being the best versions of ourselves each and every day. The basketball culture is actually rooted very heavily in Aristotle virtue ethics, if you're familiar, which essentially says that you are what you repeatedly do and that you are a culmination of your habits. But I'd like to go as far to say that life is nothing but a collection of habits. So I'd say that over time, we built a culture, established habits, followed those habits, and those habits made us who we are. And basketball is my way that I've seen what the college does. The college forms good men and good citizens. Academics and independent study, UPLS, student government, the Tiger newspaper, other student-run clubs and organizations. There's so many different ways this can take place. In addition, school is hard, and it's especially hard when you balance it with extracurricular activities. Young men from around campus gather with a common goal in mind, whatever that goal may be. We commit to a process and to each other. We demand excellence out of one another and look out for each other along the way. You see, at Hampden-Sydney, the environment matters. It's unique. Professors care, your brother cares, you care. With this support system in place, alongside elite resources and facilities, you have everything you need to create awesome habits and become the best version of yourself. In addition, mentorship matters. When I was a freshman, I was introduced to a man named Brandon Randall from the class of 2004. Brandon played basketball here too, and he actually graduated valedictorian of his class. He was a 4-time academic All-ODAC selection, the ODAC Scholar Athlete of the Year, and an academic All-American. He essentially set the standard for what I wanted to become. So I talked with him frequently about how I can become that. And 4 years later, I'm everything that I just mentioned. He even came to our game against #1 ranked Christopher Newport in December of 2022. When we won, he told me that he felt like Tiger basketball had been restored. He's been a great mentor to me. Dr. Perry from the English department has also been an awesome mentor. As an English major, I'm very familiar with Dr. Perry. I was initially drawn to him for his genuine ways. He asks the whole class what they did the previous weekend and then asks follow-up questions to those answers, striking up relationships in a matter of seconds. But later in the semester, he challenged me to think outside the box and take my presentation on Moby Dick to another level. He pushed me to get outside my comfort zone, and I'll always appreciate him for that, because that's rare in the classroom. 3 of my peers have been tremendous mentors and brothers to me as well. My teammate and roommate, Harrison Taylor, class of 2023, inspired me like nobody else in the classroom. I asked him for advice on my first speech in my public speaking class. I was really nervous about it, and he told me to attack the day. I didn't really know what he meant, but I tried my best. When the teacher asked who wanted to speak first, I went ahead and I volunteered. I attacked the day. And I was awarded with an A on that speech, despite maybe not giving an A performance, but simply because I volunteered. So I attacked the day, and I have Harrison to thank for instilling that academic work ethic in me. Then there was a guy named Davidson Hubbard. Davidson was my teammate and roommate for 4 years. He pushed me to work on basketball harder than I've ever worked before by busting my tail every day one-on-one. I could count the days on one hand that I beat him. Every morning, we walked from Cushing down to Kirby before the sunrise, and we'd play one-on-one for hours. That unrequired work pushed us to be great. And in turn, Davidson and I were both named All-Americans last year, and now he is on full scholarship as a member of the Baylor men's basketball team. I guess you could say that iron sharpens iron. And lastly, there was Jake Hahn. Jake was a senior and then a fifth-year senior when I was a freshman and a sophomore. He took me under his wing, showed me the ropes, and invested in the next generation by doing so. I looked to him every day for advice on how to be a better leader. This brotherhood and mentorship I have experienced is something I would not have gotten anywhere else. And now all I want to do as a fifth-year senior is give back to my younger teammates, the freshmen on campus, and the recruits who came to visit. That's why this place is so special. Here at Hampden-Sydney, we learn from the brothers who came before us. Here at Hampden-Sydney, iron sharpens iron. Here at Hampden-Sydney, we invest in the next generation of good men and good citizens to provide them with an even better experience than we had. And now, to introduce somebody who's familiar with everything I've just said. Mr. Rudy Diaz, class of 2002, is the founder and CEO of Height Logistics and Height Electric in Long Beach, California. Born in California, he found his way to Hampden-Sydney after attending the Virginia Episcopal School in Lynchburg. He founded his company in 2011 with the goal of building the premier trucking and logistics company serving California's ports. His clients are among the most well-known companies in the world. More recently, Height Logistics has been one of the early adopters of zero-emission trucks, and his company has made significant strides in reducing its carbon footprint. Aside from his professional pursuits, Mr. Diaz enjoys early morning road cycling and trail running in either Colorado or California. Please put your hands together for Mr. Rudy Diaz.
Good evening, all. It's an honor to be here with you. If you really want to get your heart rate up, forget running up a hill. Try standing in front of 100+ people. That'll get your heart rate up pretty quickly. I shouldn't be standing here. There are many reasons why I shouldn't be standing here. My mom immigrated us, and there's a slight correction, immigrated us from Mexico to California when I was 6 years old. I'm the youngest of 4 children. My brother and sisters didn't graduate from high school. I was raised by a single mom. My first grade experience was me showing up to a school not learning how to speak English, or not speaking English. Talking about being pretty traumatic on your first day of school. And then after that first year, we moved to a neighborhood called Watts. It's a neighborhood in the greater LA area. And Watts, for those of you who do not know, it's a place that maybe most, if not all of you, would not want your children to grow up. Watts is a place of danger, gang violence, drive-by shootings, police sirens, helicopters. So I knew at an early age that I needed to get out of this place. So around 10 years old, I told myself, I need to get out of here. And I need to do that either through school or through sports. Luckily for me, I like both. So I did both. And in the 6th grade, there's this foundation called the I Have a Dream Foundation. It was started by Eugene Lang in New York City. And this foundation said that if you graduated from high school, that it would give you a $1,000 scholarship to attend college. So it was a gift that I was part of this foundation. And Virginia Episcopal School, which is about an hour away from here in Lynchburg, I guess heard of this foundation and offered to give a scholarship. And so my I Have a Dream Foundation counselor said, hey, there's an opportunity for you to go to boarding school in Virginia. And I was like, sign me up. You know, I knew that that was my ticket out. So I did sign up, but I still had to go through a process of competing with 60+ students for this one scholarship. So the decision was made, and I was selected. So I got on a plane, summer of 1994, and landed in Virginia, a place I've never had visited before. Just landed there and was picked up by a coach. So I spent 4 years at VES, and that was a very great experience. But it was difficult as well. Why? Because when I got there, I can see the difference in class and ethnicity, my social background. But nonetheless, I knew that I needed to be there and do well to prepare me for a higher education. So during my time at VES, a soccer coach said, hey, you should apply to Hampden-Sydney and play soccer there. I've never heard of Hampden-Sydney. I knew that some of the VES boys would come here. My dream was to go to UCLA or to a school back in California. But I took his advice and I did apply here. And I'm glad I did. And while being here, same thing, it was difficult. I felt like a fish out of water because it was a stark difference from where I grew up. So I almost quit. I remember my freshman year, it was first semester was very difficult. And I told myself, I don't know, I don't want to be here. But then the self-talk was happening, and no, you made a decision to be here, now you have to honor that decision, and I did, and I'm glad I did, because I wouldn't be here hadn't I honored that decision. So my time here at Hampden-Sydney was great, and I'm very grateful for the experience. I really enjoy the small classes, the 10 students to one professor, Rachel, or 15 students to one professor. Enjoy driving to Miami for our spring breaks with college friends. That was fun. And I don't know if I can do that again, but yeah, we did that almost every year. And also going to the ACC tournament in Atlanta, Georgia. Those are some of the memories that I hold dearly to my heart, as well as playing intramural sports. And coach, we did win an intramural championship. And then where else can you take caveman chemistry and turn honey into mead? Where else can you take music theory and become a conductor in one semester? Where else can you take a theater class and write your own play? It's only here at Hampden-Sydney, really. And then another thing that I take are the friendships. The friendships that I made here, and that to this day I still keep in touch with some of those friends, and I hold them dearly, and I appreciate them. And the other thing is the rhetoric program. The rhetoric program is something that I think I put to practice every day in my life. It's made me a better communicator, a better writer, a better reader, and that's something that I use in my daily life. So one of the reasons, I already told you some of the reasons why I shouldn't be here, right? The odds were stacked against me. I didn't have brothers who showed me the way how to get through school or what college they were applying to. I didn't have any of that. The place that I grew up, they did a 2000 census, and 2.9% of 25-year-olds have a college education. So the odds were very stacked against me. But one of the reasons that I am standing here is because of the contribution of others like yourselves, who want to support higher education, who through your contribution of giving time, energy, and money, allow someone like me to get a higher education. So I'm very grateful for that, and I'm very grateful, and some of you may be here, for those who give to Hampden-Sydney, so that Hampden-Sydney in return could give me that scholarship that I needed. So it was through the I Have a Dream Foundation and Hampden-Sydney that split my tuition to be here. So I wanted to honor that, and I try to do well here. So part of the reason why I want to get back to the school is because I have received so much from this school. And it is my desire that other kids that come after me, and after some of you that are here, can also receive these gifts and be formed into good men and good citizens, and go out into the world and become contributors themselves. Hampden-Sydney, for me, is the vehicle of expression, but it's really people like you that allow that vehicle to be expressed. It is through your contribution that Hampden-Sydney can offer those scholarships, but it is really your contribution that's making it happen. So thank you for that. And I welcome you and encourage you to continue to do that, because there are students like myself who need that help. In closing, I want to say one more thing. Someone once told me that you'll come across remarkable people in your life. And if I may add, you're also going to come across remarkable institutions. My mom is one of those remarkable people who made a life-changing decision that changed my life and gave me other opportunities. Hampden-Sydney is one of those institutions that has also changed my life, as well as VES and as well as the I Have a Dream Foundation. So in closing, I want to thank President Larry for his vision, for his leadership, for inviting me to be on the Board of Trustees. And even when I respectfully declined, he's like, no, I think you need to be on there. So I thank him for not giving up. It shows part of his character that, you know, he wants the best. I also want to thank the Board of Trustees for their commitment, their leadership, and for allowing me to be part of this distinguished group of people. I want to thank the professors and the staff of Hampden-Sydney who get up every day and teach these young men to be good men and good citizens. I want to thank the event organizer. You guys did an amazing job. To the staff, to people who prepare this food so that we can enjoy it, thank you. And lastly, I want to thank Hugh Haskins. Yes. And lastly, I want to thank Hugh Haskins for his friendship and for bringing me back after being gone for 22 years. You know, he kept in touch, and he's like, you should come visit. And I did come visit here in June, and here I am again, and I plan to visit a lot more. So thank you for your time, thank you for your support, and may we go find more good men and good citizens to lead forward. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Owen Williams, and I'm a junior from Fairhope, Alabama. It is a pleasure to be here this evening, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to speak with all of you. During my time at Hampden-Sydney College, I've worked hard to take advantage of the many opportunities this college offers to students. I'm a member of the football team, Student Honor Corps, Student Athlete Mentors, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and Kappa Alpha Order Fraternity here on the Hill. I can confidently say that there is no place for a young man like Hampden-Sydney College. I consider it to be a great blessing to be able to attend this historic college, especially to be here as a student as we celebrate 250 years of forming good men and good citizens. During my time here, I've been learning the intricacies and importance of our mission, which I think we can all collectively agree is something that our country and our world is in need of right now. Part of this learning process is the result of interacting with powerful and influential teachers, administrators, mentors, and alumni. Recently, this fall, the football team had the pleasure to hear from Hampden-Sydney Hall of Fame football player, Ben Rogers. His words were simple, yet powerful. He said, hard work, discipline, and commitment. Choose any word you want. All of these words simply boil down to the choices you make. Being a good man and a good citizen is a culmination of everyday decisions. The choices we make day in and day out. At Hampden-Sydney, we learn that these decisions, such as following the honor code, showing up to class, or even helping out a friend by being our brother's keeper, are imperative to the college's mission and to our own and collective development. The culture here, fueled by our mission, inspires us all to take ownership of our experience and to think critically about our future. In other words, at Hampden-Sydney, the education and character refinement that students receive goes beyond the classroom, reaching into all aspects of the student experience. We are sharpened through all aspects of this college into men of high character who understand that our priorities lie in the pursuit of happiness, the pursuit of a virtuous life, and in helping all those with whom we interact, Hampden-Sydney student or not, to realize their potential by doing the same. At Hampden-Sydney College, I have truly learned what alumni mean when they talk about the brotherhood. The brotherhood here on the hill is real and it is tangible. In other words, the brotherhood is most importantly a way of living as opposed to simply being words that we say. There's something distinctly special about having young men from all different parts of the country, from diverse backgrounds, and with varying worldviews, working together for a common goal, making the world a better place by helping others realize their potential. By attending Hampden-Sydney, I feel that I am not just a number, but rather a working member of this great institution, helping to write the next chapter of our storied history. As we look forward towards the future, I cannot help feel immensely thankful for the support and those in attendance tonight. Those whose legacy at Hampden-Sydney, whose support, generosity, and guidance, whose mentorship and nurturing have helped us, the students, dream big dreams and inspire us to leave this place better than we found it, and prepared to face the world with the mission of the college as our guide and as our reward. Thank you for your support. I look forward to celebrating what is certainly a bright future for Hampden-Sydney. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to call to the stage Dr. Eugene Hickok. Dr. Eugene Hickok is a member of Hampden-Sydney's class of 1972. He went on to earn a master's degree and PhD from the University of Virginia. He's lived out the college's mission through a distinguished career in teaching as a professor of political science and law, during which he authored and edited many books and articles. He also dedicated many years of his life to public service. First, in the United States Department of Justice, then as Secretary of the Pennsylvania Department of Education, and finally, as United States Deputy Secretary of Education under George W. Bush. Since 2013, he has served as a trustee here at Hampden-Sydney. Dr. Hickok and his wife, Kathy, live in Richmond and enjoy spending time with their children and their grandchildren. They're both deeply devoted to Hampden-Sydney College and its special mission. Please join with me in welcoming Dr. Eugene Hickok to the stage.
Thank you, Owen, for that introduction and for your thoughts about Hampden-Sydney and who you are and who you will become. Happy homecoming. I thought I'd say a few words about the importance of home and coming home. If you really think about it, home is a place. Probably more importantly, home is a feeling. Home is an emotion. And as we grow older, and I know something about that, it's a memory. So this is homecoming weekend. And you, most of you, must feel a special purpose in being here. But when you think of it, if we're lucky, and I think most of us are, home is a place you leave, but a place that never leaves you. It's a place that resides as much in your heart as it does on a map. Home is all about all that was invested in you as you grew up. Your parents, your relatives, your friends. We don't often think of that when we're growing up. We're too busy growing up. But when you think about it, they're making sacrifices. They're investing in you because they know one day you'll do the same when you make your home and your family. And it seems to me that the most important thing we can do is good men, good citizens, residents of this home, is to take the time to put aside all the momentary concerns we have and think about how we can invest in home ourselves. We need to think about how much our home, this college, this place, invested in us. We don't often think about that. We're talking about a capital campaign investing in this college. Well, think about how much this college invested in us. Think of how much time and effort, sacrifice of faculty and staff and fellow students because they believed in us, because this was our home. And so my reason for tonight is to encourage us to recognize that and take the time in our own way to find a way, not just to say thank you, that's never enough, but to invest in a home that invested in us. I think it's safe to say, I know it's safe to say, that one of the things that separates this home, this place, from any other is for each of us, when we were here, it changed everything forever. It changed everything forever. We began a new world as individuals. And that led to our own families, our own endeavors, our own hopes and dreams, but in many ways, they began in this place. This place that many, many years ago was created so that whoever comes here is changed forever into a good man, a good citizen. And someone who recognizes the value of a Hampden-Sydney education. Thank you.
I was a little nervous we weren't going to have any Lynchburg people in here. Good to see you, Mr. Diaz. Why Hampden-Sydney? I'll be honest, growing up an hour away in Lynchburg, Virginia, I did not know much about Hampden-Sydney. One thing that I did know and that everyone from Lynchburg never failed to let me know is how great Hampden-Sydney is. I can definitely say that they were right. From the first time I passed Fulton Field to the time that I packed all my stuff into my Carpenter X dorm room, it was magical. I was excited to experience my first college game day, don a blazer, and be a part of the brotherhood. I was so ready to be a Hampden-Sydney man. One thing I was not prepared for was the challenges that I would face while here at Hampden-Sydney. In the spring semester of 24, my life began to change. My classes seemed more difficult. My grandmother was diagnosed with cancer, and the icing on the cake, a close friend of mine passed away just when I saw them a week prior. All of these things swarmed me at once. A decline began to show in my class performance, my personality, and my way as a Hampden-Sydney man. I truly began to feel alone. I began to feel like I did not belong here. One day during the spring semester, I hit rock bottom. I felt like I hit a point of no return. And in that moment, something special happened. A friend of mine, and also a member of the Hampden-Sydney football team, Sutton Lasso, said to me, "Not every day is a great day, but every day is a blessed day." Then he disappeared into the corridors of the Panel Commons. To most, this seems just like a normal interaction, but to me, it is everything. After that moment, things in my life began to turn around. All of my professors emailed me asking me about my well-being, even though they did not know what I was going through. Many of them stopped on their way to teach a class or to get lunch just to speak with me, even if it was for a few moments. My teammates, they surrounded me with nothing but love and compassion, letting me know that they will always be there for me. Some of my peers I've never interacted with before offered me help in class and any other areas of life that I needed aid. And what felt like my darkest moments of life quickly became my brightest. Hampden-Sydney taught me how to get up when things get tough, to keep moving forward, to see it through. But it taught me an even greater lesson. The greatest things about Hampden-Sydney do not lie in football games, the curriculum, or having fun at concerts. All the wonderful things about Hampden-Sydney lie within the people. People who take strides every day to make this place even more wonderful. I want to thank a special person in my life since I got here, Dean Desiree Washington, who is now known as Dean Nicholson. I want to say thank you to everyone who has made donations to academic buildings, athletic facilities, and the Hampden-Sydney community. You not just made an investment with your pockets, but you made an investment with your heart. I challenge everyone in this room today, next time they're asked, why Hampden-Sydney? They proudly say, why not Hampden-Sydney? It is now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, the 25th president of Hampden-Sydney, a great leader and mentor to us all, Dr. Larry Stimpert. Sorry, everyone, he has a long resume. Dr. Stimpert has dedicated most of his life to higher education. For many years as a professor of economics and business at Colorado College, as vice president for academic affairs at DePaul University, and since 2016 as president of Hampden-Sydney College. His passion for liberal education is rooted in his own life-changing experience as a first-generation student at Illinois Wesleyan University. His work at Hampden-Sydney is inspired by the college's mission, and his greatest joy is to see young men thrive at Hampden-Sydney, growing in their intellectual, physical, social, moral, and spiritual dimensions, and going on to have lives of purpose and service as the good men and good citizens our world needs. Thank you and welcome Dr. Stimpert.
Well, you all know, gosh, it is bright. I can't see any of you right now. You all know we've been doing a lot of renovating on campus over the last couple of years, and I've heard a lot of great compliments tonight about what is the new coach's dining room here at the college. I joked around that it's so nice we ought to keep it set up this way for the winter ball, but we use this facility a lot for intramurals and other events, and so I don't think we'd get away with that. The master of ceremonies tonight, I guess, was Hugh Haskins. He's at least the first speaker, and I felt like I should have been the person to introduce him. Hugh has been, he's an alumni of the college, class of 2001. He worked here for a while, and he went to work as a fundraiser at Clemson University, where he participated on a $1 billion campaign, which is a nice goal. He's been back now for several years heading up our major gift effort, and after a national search to replace Heather Krajewski, he was our unanimous pick, and it's thrilled to have him working with us. The whole senior team has just really come to admire Hugh and his leadership. He's just immediately become a great colleague of ours on the senior team. I know he has the full support and great support of his advancement staff members. And Hugh, it's great to have you on board. And I will also add, before I ask you to give him a round of applause, Hugh is distinct in that he is actually married to another Hampden-Sydney graduate. Corinne is the daughter of Professor Roger Barris, and as you probably know, faculty and staff have been able to send their daughters to this college for men for a long time. And so I don't know how many alumni couples we have, Hugh, but Hugh and Corinne are an amazing couple, and they live right here on campus with 4 sons. So let's give Hugh a round of applause. And I'd also like to acknowledge everyone who made this night possible. Cameron Carey is our tremendously talented and creative director of campus events. My only hope is... My only hope is we raise as much money as it costs to do all this. You know, we just heard from 3 fantastic students and 2 alumni, and you can see why I am so proud to lead this institution and why I consider it such a privilege to be your president and to represent this college. I want to say just a word about the 3 students. Some of you know, the trustees know, I'm a great admirer of what Jim Collins calls the level 5 leader. And for those of you who haven't read Jim Collins, what he means by the level 5 leader are people who have a tremendous passion for the organization, but exhibit personal humility. And these 3 guys, I don't know better examples. They are all tremendous leaders. And Adam spoke one of my favorite lines about our brotherhood here. It's iron sharpening iron on a daily basis. And you see the result. It's just really one of the great privileges I have to watch that on a daily basis here. I would also add, on a personal note, I guess, Owen, who introduced Gene, I haven't talked to him about this, but he really, in many ways, is an answer to prayer for me. I'd go to church at the college church for many Sundays, and after I got here, and there'd always be a nice group of about 3 students who would be there. Some Sundays it was 6. And I used to think, gosh, I would love to see this place filled. And I prayed to the Lord that young men would find their way to that church. And there's been, again, great people who have been very loyal about attending the college church. Charles Adams, who's sitting at our table, is one of those. But I noticed something when Owen started coming to church. First of all, I thought, wow, that's a neat young man who's coming to church. And the neat thing was he came the next Sunday. And then he came the next Sunday. And he kept coming. And then he started bringing his friends. And Owen, I haven't told you this, but I think you made coming to college church cool. You know, at first, yeah. Our students now outnumber the regular parishioners, and I think that's a fine, fine thing. Let me speak about the 2 alumni. Rudy talked about the profound change that this place had on him, and I'm pleased to be able to announce now that he is, in turn, profoundly changing this place by having committed to give a $5 million gift to renovate the Kirby Fieldhouse. And Gene, who was also so profoundly influenced by his time at the college, and I think speaks to the experience of Hampden-Sydney more eloquently than anyone else I know, he is going to continue to profoundly change the future of Hampden-Sydney College through another investment by the Endeavor Legacy Foundation, this time a gift of $30 million in endowment. And that is going to support the addition of new faculty positions in business, banking, finance, data analytics and data science, and foreign affairs and national security, all popular areas of demand by our students. And it's going to be a tremendous enhancement to the academic program at this college. So Gene, thank you. With this latest investment by Endeavor Legacy Foundation, combined with the foundation's previous investments and the investment of Stanley Pauly that made the Pauly Science Center a reality, the total contributions by the Endeavor Legacy and the Pauly Family Foundations now total over $112 million. Now, every college or university that has risen to prominence in this country has benefited from one or more generous investors who forever changed the trajectory of that institution. And the Pauley Family Foundation and the Endeavor Legacy Foundation have, in just the last few years, become those transformational investors for Hampden-Sydney College, and we are all tremendously grateful. The two gifts that I've announced tonight, Rudy's gift to support the renovation of the Kirby Fieldhouse and the Endeavor Legacy Foundation's most recent investment in endowment, are important because they signal the two priorities of this campaign. One priority is to ensure that the quality of our facilities here at the college matches the quality of our educational program. We no longer want to make excuses for the condition of our facilities or say crazy things like, well, guys don't need very much. But we want to ensure that those facilities match the top quality higher education experience we offer young men here. And the second priority we have for this campaign is to grow our endowment. And we have two primary goals with that objective, that priority. And the first is to support our academic program, our educational experience that we offer young men. And that gift by the Endeavor Legacy Foundation is going to make a tremendous advance to the quality of our program. And the other priority we have for growing the endowment is access. We don't want any talented young man who wants to come to Hampden-Sydney College to feel like he can't be here because of his family's financial circumstances. And so those are our two big goals, facilities and growing our endowment as we move forward. Now, in the quiet phase that has led up to tonight, we've been able to accomplish a lot through our fundraising efforts. I'll just read off a list, and of course I'll miss a lot, but we've managed to grow our endowment by $100 million over the last 8 years. We've been able to fund a new level of access. Early on in my time here, we won a grant from the Carpenter Foundation. They gave us $4 million, and they challenged us to raise $4 for every dollar they gave us. And we did it in 4 years. We raised $20 million in need-based financial aid that is helping with that access. Tonight, even before tonight's gift by the investment by Endeavor Legacy Foundation, we've added 4 endowed professorships. We've secured support for Compass, our experiential learning initiative. We've raised large amount of funding to support our athletics program, our Wilson Leadership Fellows program, entrepreneurship education, the Tiger Fund, our outdoor education program, and so much more. We've added important new facilities, including the Panel Center for Rhetoric and Communication and the Pauley Science Center. And thanks to your investments, we've renovated Venable Hall and many athletic facilities, and we're renovating the Kirby Fieldhouse. And we'll soon be renovating Gilmer Hall and turning it into a state-of-the-art facility for our economics and business and government and foreign affairs departments. And of course, so much more. And while all these accomplishments are impressive, needed, and a part of realizing our goals for Hampden-Sydney, they are part of a far more important accomplishment, and that is to get this college to think differently about itself. It is time, good men, to imagine that there isn't anything this college can't do if it sets its mind to doing it. And it's time to have the confidence that we can pursue a very ambitious future for Hampden-Sydney. Some of you in this room have heard me tell the story, but I'm going to tell it again, that when I became president, when it was announced that I was going to be president, Peoples Harrison, our board chair, handed me John Brinkley's book, and he said, I suggest that you read this. And I thought, well, it's probably a good idea. If I'm going to run the college, I should have a knowledge of its history. And when I saw Peoples again, he said, have you read the book? And I said, actually, I have. Now, to be fair, to be honest, after John described the 19th change in the curriculum, I stopped reading all the details about the curriculum changes. But I read the book, and he said, what did you think? And I said, I think it's a 200-year romance with poverty. And I want to tell you tonight, those days are over. What any organization can accomplish will be determined by its level of ambition. And we want an incredibly ambitious future for Hampden-Sydney. It is time, good men, for us to believe that there isn't any mountain too high for us to climb. Perhaps it's no coincidence that the motto of Endeavor Legacy Foundation is Imagine the Possibilities. With the help of Endeavor Legacy, Gene and Kathy, Rudy, Mr. Pauly, and so many other people, many of whom are in this room tonight, we aren't just imagining possibilities, but we are on our way to realizing our college's possibilities. And why is it that we want your financial support? What is it that we are ambitious for? It is for our mission to form good men and good citizens. This was a mission that was profoundly important in 1775 as this college was being formed to provide the leaders of an emerging republic. But Hampden-Sydney was also created for a moment just like this. In fact, I have said we have a wonderful and even glorious history, and we have inherited a wonderful legacy. But let us never forget that our most important work is the work we're doing right now and the work we will do in the future. It's time, good men, for us to embrace this mission as never before. For us not only to believe, but to assert that this is the most important project in higher education. This is the time, this is the moment in our nation's history for a college that wants to represent all the best that young men can be and do. And take those young men and form them into the good men and good citizens who will be the leaders of tomorrow in every field of endeavor. And what can be more noble than to gather young men in a beautiful place like this, to encourage them to apply their abilities and talents, to encourage them to pursue their aspirations and dreams, to equip them with the ability to communicate effectively, to give them a space to test out their ideas without fear of criticism or silencing, to cultivate civility, to develop every aspect of their manhood, to prepare young men of character and encourage them to go on to live lives of consequence. I mentioned earlier that one of the goals of this campaign is to ensure access, to ensure that any talented young man can attend Hampden-Sydney regardless of his family's circumstances. And at Hampden-Sydney College, we're small enough to know that every student, every alumnus has a story. And I can't help but share a couple of those stories. Earlier tonight, I saw Boyd Scarborough, a member of the class of 1970. And Boyd's remarkable because I sat in his office early on in my time here, and it was one of the first major gift commitments that I experienced as president. And Boyd has established a scholarship for young men who lose a parent or have a parent who loses a job. And that student runs the risk of not being able to continue as a student here. He told me the story of his own case where his father died, and he was sure he was going to have to drop out of college. And one day he got a call from the dean, who didn't have a reputation for being warm and fuzzy, and he didn't know exactly why he was being called to the dean's office. But he said, he got there and the dean told him, "We're going to make it possible for you to continue here." And he said, "I want to do that for a student in the future." And so thank you, Boyd, for that contribution and what you've done for the college and what you will do for future generations of Hampden-Sydney students. And then I want to tell you another really remarkable story, and I'll try to be quick, but we have an Afghan student here, a student from Afghanistan. And I got to know him last year, but I simply said hi, and I'm a little embarrassed about that. I would see him in the gym. I'd see him in Tiger Rec. I'd speak to him. I'd say hello. This year, when he came back for his sophomore year, not long ago, I saw him again in Tiger Rec, and he said, could I come and see you? And I said, sure. So he came to my office, and he told me his story. Kamal's father died when he was young, and his mother and his brother were translators in the U.S. Embassy in Kabul. When Afghanistan fell to the Taliban, it wasn't safe, obviously, for his family to be there. They got no assistance from us to get to the border, but they knew they had to get to the border, and they got to Pakistan. Kamal decided he had to go to college. He wanted a future for himself that would require college. And as part of the conversation, I asked him, how in the world did you find your way here to Hampden-Sydney College from Pakistan? And he said, well, I Googled colleges and honor because I thought that I wanted to be a part of an honorable place. And that's how he found us. He finished his freshman year, and in spite of a generous financial aid package, he still had a balance on his account. Now, here's how enterprising this young man is. He said, I decided that the best way to make money was to become an Uber Eats driver. But that meant I had to get a driver's license and had to buy a car. And so he was an Uber Eats driver, and he was making good money, and he was on his way to paying off his balance until at the very end of the summer he had a car accident. And while it wasn't his fault, he still had to buy a new car. And so he wanted to see me because he was desperately afraid that we weren't going to let him register for classes for the spring semester. It's not a big balance, but I never want a student like Kamal to have to worry whether he's going to be able to continue here. And so when we ask you to support this institution, we're asking you for really noble reasons. So I know one of the questions that's on everybody's mind is, what's the goal and where are we? Hugh tells me that when he and his team are out meeting with alumni, that's one of the questions. What's the goal going to be, and where are we now? So tonight's a bit of a big reveal to you. We've said for a long time that since we're going to celebrate our 250th anniversary, we ought to have the goal of this campaign be $250 million. It's a big goal. Our last campaign raised $100 million, so this is 2.5 times what we raised in the past, the goal that we've set for ourselves. And you'll see in the program that we've actually set a deadline for ourselves. We not only set a goal, but we've set a deadline. We expect to be back here in about 18 months and be celebrating the completion of that campaign. And so I'm happy to be able to announce to you that as of tonight, we've raised $178 million in cash. And here's my challenge to not only those of you who are in the room with us tonight, but to all of our alumni and friends everywhere. Let's blow right past that $250 million goal. And I think I'm supposed to close things out. Are we ready for the champagne toast? Okay. So, I don't have mine with me. Okay. So let's raise a glass to the finest and celebrate this beloved institution. Here's to old Hampden-Sydney.
Thank you all for coming tonight. Grateful for everyone's support and for being a part of this beautiful evening, and we look forward to seeing you all back here in April of 2026.